Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Ms. TV Total Football. Welcome to your post-match reaction. Manchester City 0, Spurs 2. Oh my God. Wow. Away from home, huge victory for Spurs. Big up to all the Spurs fans out there. You must be absolutely ecstatic. And it is a big win. Away from home to the Etihad Stadium. And yes, in recent times, Spurs have actually had the number on Manchester City. But Manchester City, what a stinkfest. What an absolute stinkfest. That was an embarrassing performance, man. Nothing. They absolutely had nothing. Pep Guardiola, how much of a loss this will be, what type of an impact this will have. Generally, when they get done like this, it really opens up a can of worms for them, and it, multiplies and escalates into something crazy like we saw last season. I have to say, look, Manchester City, before we come to Spurs, and we're going to, obviously, there's a lot of praising that needs to happen at Spurs, but at the same time, do you know what? It's not like Spurs played this unbelievable game that, we now have to fear Spurs. No, nothing like that, but we're going to get to that. We're going to praise them, but at the same time, keep it real as possible. This City team at home, stinker from Haaland, stinker from Marmoush, stinker from Shirky, stinker from Reinders, stinker from Oscar Bob, but Oscar Bob got pocketed by DJ Spence. Spence owns Oscar Bob. Stinkers for many players, man. Their defense. And James Trafford, he was the big contributor for the second goal for Tottenham Hotspurs. So, look, this Manchester City team, it's a weird one. Goalkeeper, I think James Trafford, let's start from the back, right? Goalkeeper, look, this is the first proper game that I've watched for City this season from the beginning. I watched, obviously, the extended highlights against Wolves, and Trafford made some very, very good saves. But I think, Trafford, your career at Manchester City is over. Now I fully understand why Donnarumma has been linked. And I think Donnarumma is going to happen now. James Trafford, he did some mad stuff all throughout the game. And that second goal was all down to James Trafford just being absolutely silly and allowing for that goal to happen. And as I said, all throughout the game, he was just making some silly, silly decisions. And it was mad to see. It was absolutely mad to see. He lacks the decision-making, and he seems very, very nervous. Look, he made some couple of saves. He might be a good shot stopper, but ultimately, look, a few Chelsea fans were saying in the watch-along, when we were doing the watch-along, that there were Chelsea fans that wanted James Trafford to take over from Sanchez. Trafford doesn't look ready one bit, man. He really doesn't. I know this is the second game, but yeah, I think he seems very nervous. In defense, I think this is one of the biggest issues for Manchester City right now. Ruben Diaz, John Stones, Rico Lewis, Nathan Ake, obviously Ait Nouri got injured earlier on. They need upgrading there. And obviously they need upgrading in midfield. Without Rodri, when Rodri came on, and I know he's not fully fit as yet, before that, Nico Gonzalez, Reinders was the biggest disappointment. I thought this game, looking at the lineup at home, I thought Manchester City were going to blow Tottenham away and Reinders was going to play a big part. But nah, man, that midfield just wasn't able to control Spurs, wasn't able to lock Spurs down. And ultimately, I think the issues lie there. Goalkeeper, defense, midfield. And I'm sure when Rodri comes back, maybe they might be better. Who knows? Or maybe Rodri's time is probably now over off the back of that injury. Up front, they've got a lot of firepower, but that firepower is no good if the defensive, the midfield and the defense is not that great. But even today, up front, Marmoush, man, absolute stinker from Marmoush. Ryan Shirky as well. Nothing really. They probably had just one chance in the first half where Haaland put the ball through for Marmoush, and Marmoush smacked it straight at Vicario. There was a good save from Vicario. Besides that, a horrible performance from Manchester City. And Pep Guardiola, look, a lot of people have been saying, you've been doing it well all this time, but is it time? Is it time down the track? If this continues, they were looking at this season that they're going to be very, very competitive. This is a morale-breaking loss. It really is. I mean, at home, being embarrassed in front of your home crowd, and when you didn't even put up a fight. There was nothing. Thomas Frank, from a tactical standpoint, like seriously outclassed Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola did not have an answer to anything. And it'll be interesting to see how Manchester City go from here, because this was an absolute stinky performance, man. No, service for Haaland, and in both the wings, they were just locked down. There was no creativity from midfielders. It was just strange, very, very strange. Now, in regards to Spurs, let's take a moment to praise Spurs. Spurs, I have to say, Thomas Frank, tactically set up brilliantly. Nice structure, defensively compact, and some powerful performances in defense. Start from the goalkeeper. Vicario was strong. DJ Spence, for me, was the standout. For me, that would be the man of the match, DJ Spence. I think he locked things down on that side. It's defensively amazing, bombing forward as well, and giving an option up front. There's a lot of good performers, but we'll start things off with defense. Mickey van der Ven, Romero, absolute powerhouse. Both of them were proper powerhouse. Pedro Porro was also very strong. The midfield, that midfield of Palhinha, Pape Sarr, and Bentancur, amazing. I mean, another really good man of the match contender probably would have been Palhinha. Got himself that goal, the second goal, which was helped by James Trafford. But it was a strong midfield performance. Everything that City didn't do, Spurs did. Defensively, rock solid, and they've actually got a very good defense, man. When you look at the entire league, they've got a very good defense. And it looks like Thomas Frank, and it's early days, they've got back-to-back 2 wins now, on top of the Premier League table. One of the things Thomas Frank will probably focus on is the defense. Defend well, and at least make sure you keep clean sheets. And, the attack is good enough to at least get a goal. And the midfield's strong as well. Palhinha, I believe this is his first start of the season. He's just come from Bayern Munich not that long ago. Strong, man. Spurs, in terms of defense and midfield, look very, very good. Up front, look, it's not a scary up front at all. Richarlison, Brennan Johnson, Kudus is probably the standout, but they work hard. Richarlison worked so hard. The game plan was simple. City with the silly high line all the time, and they're so open. The defenders are not capable of closing things down. Spurs just knew, just stay compact, defend well, and we're going to get the break, and then we're going to catch them out. That's exactly what Spurs did. So, Richarlison worked hard. And off the back of his really good work that he had, he put in a lovely cross for Brennan Johnson. And what people think about Brennan Johnson, and I don't really rate him highly. One thing about Brennan Johnson, he scores goals. Lovely cross from Richarlison and Brennan Johnson with a fantastic finish. Ricolos tried to intercept that cross, but it was too much. It was off a transition as well. So acres of space. Brennan Johnson got into the box, cross came in, and then nice shot into the goal. So look, lovely performance from Spurs. But I have to say, look, it's not something that you look at and go, oh, I'm scared of Spurs now. Not at all. Me being a Chelsea fan, I'm looking at both of these teams and I'm like, you know what? I can't wait. I can't wait to play City. This City would get smoked by Chelsea. Smoked. Would rip them apart. I can't wait. And this Spurs team, they're not all that. They're good. Don't get me wrong. Thomas Frank so far has done a very good job. And I know a lot of the Spurs fans are going to be ecstatic today. Expressions, Tobes, they're going to be very happy, and rightly so. But the Spurs team, they can be got. And I'm pretty sure our team, Chelsea Football Club, we can easily take them. And this is why we're saying, a large part of the fan base has been saying that Chelsea, this is an important season. We can compete at the highest level. We can compete for the title. Do you know what I mean? Like City, this is a morale-breaking loss, man. How they react to this, we'll see. But they've got problems. They've got distinct flaws. And Spurs just capitalized on that. Spurs capitalized. Look, gone are the days if it was Ange Postecoglou, Spurs would have been open as well. But I think Thomas Frank, what he's done is defensively stay resolute, midfield stay strong, and then up front, you'll try and get a goal. And they did so. And they're going to try and add, obviously, to this attack. If they got Eze, I swear, this is what I was saying. I didn't put up this video because, luckily I didn't, because Eze ended up going to Arsenal. But if Eze went to Spurs, I was ready to put up a video that's what Spurs cooking. Because add Eze to this setup, and it really starts to look good. You know, Eze has gone to Arsenal, which is not a good news because Arsenal are going to start looking better. But yeah, man, Thomas Frank's doing decent job, but ultimately, look, I think Spurs can be beaten. But this game, obviously, Spurs, you've done fantastically well. You've been resolute, and honestly, City had nothing. City did nothing. City had nothing, and you bossed them. You bossed them at their own home ground, which is crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts on this match. Is this loss going to have a huge impact on Manchester City's future for this season? What does it mean for Pep Guardiola? He looked like he was stressed by the end of the game. He looked like he was losing it. He was starting to lose it. So let me know your thoughts. And Spurs as well. Should they be taken seriously this season? Let me know in the comment section. Smash up the like button if you're here for the first time. Subscribe. Hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Until next time, take care. See ya. Bye.